Hello, my name is Jay Johnson. I'd like to introduce this DVD, Building a Better Runner, Building from the Ground Up, Volume 1. This DVD presents over 100 exercises. They're grouped into 3 categories: preventive exercises, exercises intended to prevent injury; general strength exercises, exercises that will improve your strength, but in a way that is specific and appropriate for runners; and a warm-up. And now this warm-up is called the tempo warm-up. It starts easy, it ends very difficult, but it's going to show you a continuum of exercises, starting from easy exercises, moving all the way into ballistic exercises that you can incorporate into your training. Now, starting with the preventive exercises, it's important for you to understand that we appropriated these exercises primarily from the worlds of physical therapy and athletic training. So everything you see in this DVD, you would see potentially in a physical therapy office, in a physical therapy setting, or in an athletic training room. If you heard of the term prehab, this is prehab, okay? And the idea is we want you to do these exercises prior to your running workouts or after your running workouts with the express intent of preventing injury. And the idea is if you can train consistently, if day after day, week after week, month after month, you can train uninterrupted, meaning you have no injuries and your training is uninterrupted, you will run faster. We believe this. Almost every coach that you could ask this question, will I run faster if I can train uninterrupted? They would agree that the answer is yes. The problem is very few of us are doing exercises on a daily and weekly basis to prevent running injuries. A couple that come to mind are the IT band injuries that we often have as runners, or plantar fascia injuries as we often have as runners. And in this DVD, you'll see exercises targeted at those 2 areas. The second part of the DVD focuses on general strength. Mike and I are big believers that distance runners need to insert general strength into their training daily. And the idea is that if you have more general strength work in addition to all the running you need to be doing, and please don't misunderstand us. We're not saying that to become a better runner, you should stop running and do all these activities in this DVD. No, what we're saying is in addition to your running, you should take on some of this extra work. And this general strength work, we have it presented in various routines. So the easiest routine is the back routine. You'll see that at the top of the DVD. Then you'll move into harder routines, with the bottom routine being the Helsinki routine. That routine actually involves a medicine ball. But the idea is that all these exercises are appropriate for an entire continuum of runners, from middle school boys and girls all the way up to adults, trying to run fast marathons or ultra marathons, or just trying to run, 5Ks faster. Mike does a fantastic job in this DVD highlighting why general strength is important. But I want to add my 2 cents here at the outset, which is I personally believe in general strength for 2 primary reasons. Number 1 is I think it helps prevent injury, because when you do a general strength exercise or do these general strength routines like we've shown, I'll use the back routine and the pedestal routine as examples. If you do the back routine daily and the pedestal routine 2 or 3 days a week after your hard days, you're going to have a 3-dimensional training, or more importantly, you're going to have a training that focuses on the sagittal plane, the frontal plane, and the transverse plane. You're going to be training in all 3 planes of motion. So let's say that you're actually really strong in the sagittal plane and your quads are really strong. And we would consider, by the way, your core basically being almost from your kneecaps to the bottom of your rib cage. Don't think of your core as just your abs. But the bottom line with these general strength routines is that you're using a lot of muscles, you're using big muscle groups, and you're moving in all 3 planes of motion. Well, in my opinion, that's one of the best ways to, I was going to say defend against injury, but not to make it sound like some military thing, but we do want to keep injuries at bay. We want to train week in, week out, day out, injury-free. And yet nobody has the holy grail as to how you can do that. And we feel like adding this general strength into your daily and weekly training is a good step towards that. And then so basically, why do I love general strength? Number 1 is I think it prevents injuries. Number 2 is it's going to improve your endocrine profile. Human growth hormone's going to go up. Testosterone's will go up. And if those 2 hormones are elevated, you have a better chance of staying injury-free, And you also have a better chance of running a little bit faster because we know that those anabolic hormones are really good for runners because running is primarily a catabolic activity. Anabolic just means building up, but catabolic means tearing down. When you go for a long run, on some basic level, that tears you down. Well, you do some general strength, that builds you back up, and it seems to balance one another out. So, my 2 cents on why general strength is important. The final part of the DVD is a tempo warm-up. Now, it is called a warm-up, but for most of us, we could think of it as a workout. What I want you to understand with this tempo warm-up is there are exercises, in fact, the majority of the exercises presented in the tempo warm-up are appropriate for all runners. And again, middle school boys and girls all the way up to adults who are training many miles or just trying to improve at the distance of 5,000 meters. But the bottom line is that very few people who purchase this DVD would do the entire warm-up from start to finish the same way that this young woman, Morgan Bonds, is doing in this DVD. We also have an unedited, kind of uncut, it's edited, but it's an uncut version with Christian Smith, who's a U.S. Olympian at 800 meters in 2008. And what I like about showing you Christian's warm-up is that the guy is breathing hard at the end of it. Now granted, the video was shot in the month of August, so it's at the beginning of his training cycle, but what it highlights is the exercises at the beginning of the warm-up are appropriate for everybody. The exercises in the middle of the warm-up are appropriate for almost everybody, and yet some of the sprint drills at the end of the warm-up might not be appropriate for you unless you're a high school athlete or a collegiate athlete. The last part of the DVD is bonus features. We've got some bloopers in there and some other fun things, but one thing I'd like to highlight is the Myrtle routine. Myrtle rhymes with hip girdle, and when I was shooting this video, I was cracking up every time Mike used the term hip girdle because it just sounds kind of funny. But I basically came up with a routine called the Myrtle routine. It is mostly exercises presented in this DVD, all of which are preventive in nature. And then I took a couple exercises from the world of athletic training, specifically the trainer at the University of Colorado, Christy Kozlowski, has some exercises for athletes. Most athletes are really bad in the front. I'm sorry, most distance runners are really bad in the frontal plane. They're good in the sagittal plane, this plane of motion, but this transverse plane, they're so-so in, and the frontal plane, they're horrible in. So the first 2 exercises, the clams and then the lateral leg lift, they're things that again, a trainer has assigned athletes at the University of Colorado. And I thought it was so important that even the athletes that were healthy, I wanted them doing those exercises to improve their glute strength and to improve their AB and AD ductor strength.